Boy, it sure is dark over here. Hey, everyone. Welcome to another great episode of the Sales Evangelist podcast. I'm your host, Donald Kelly, the Sales Evangelist, and I'm so excited for another great episode. I'm so excited to be with you on this Monday morning. We're out here hustling, gonna have a good time, make some money, we're gonna feel fine. Man, I love singing, but I can't sing. But hey, I have the belief that I will improve someday. Hey, I am so excited for this episode today. I'm so excited for this week. This is what I call the Sales Evangelist Marathon Week. For every single day during this week, Monday through Friday, actually the work week, we're going to produce an episode. So today I'm going to give you my tip of the week. Tomorrow I have a guest coming on. Then we have a sales from the street. Then we have another guest. Then we have another guest. I'm telling you, man, it's going to be great. Tomorrow's guest is a good friend of mine, Jack, and this guy knows how to social sell. I had one of my friends recently asked about that. But before I dive into all of the details about the TSE Marathon Week, I got to give some shout-outs. I want to give a big shout out this week, speaking about marathon, to my friend Allison. You're going to be running in the Chicago Marathon coming up soon, so go ahead and have a good time, be safe, and I know you will kill it. Also, Joshua, excited for the connection on LinkedIn. Robin, I'm excited to connect with you. And Neil, I'm so thankful you're listening to the podcast and that it's benefiting you. Congratulations on the success that you'll be seeing very shortly as you apply these things. And if you'd like to connect with me, you can find me on Facebook. You can find our private Facebook group. It's called the Sales Evangelizers. That's where sellers, entrepreneurs like yourself, like myself, get together. We share thoughts and insights, build strategic alliances, and have a good time. It is the Sales Evangelizers. Check it out. My wife and I would love to add you to the group. You can also find me on LinkedIn, Donald C. Kelly. You can find me on Twitter, Donald C. Kelly, or you can go ahead and send me an email, donald@thesalesevangelist.com. Again, that's donald@thesalesevangelist.com. I'm excited to connect with you, excited to learn from you, excited to just learn and grow and to just to be friends, man. It's cool. It's cool. Now, as I mentioned, this marathon, my Jamaican accent is coming out there. You hear that, right? Marathon, man. This marathon week is going to be focused on just, I don't know, I just want to get everyone pumped. We're going into the last quarter of the year, and I want to make sure that we share some really interesting things. I have folks coming on talking about social selling, another individual coming on talking about just like more management and more of our mindset and how we can get things going, be more productive. It's going to be great, man. And actually, I'm going to have a big announcement at the end of the week as well. So it's going to be cool. So you stay tuned for that. Friday, there's a big announcement. Friday, there's going to be a big announcement. Did I mention that Friday there'll be a big announcement? Anyways, we'll talk about that on Friday, but I'll keep you posted. But this week, especially today, I want to talk about the dark side of sales. And I'm not introducing a Halloween theme or anything like that, but I just want to help you understand there's a dark side of selling. And what I mean by that is that usually, even on my show or a lot of places, we hear about the sexy side of sales. We hear about how you can close more deals, how you can find more prospect, how you can use social selling, the motivational side. But recently I read a statistic that said 87% of salespeople are going to miss quota. I mean, that's just the average. 87%. Think about that. 87%. And when I think about it more, I start to, just elaborate my mind and go on and try to, decipher this number. And then the Pareto Principle came to mind, that 80% of business is closed by 20% of salespeople. Or the fact that if you want to make it very dark and see, 80% of people, probably you, I was there at one point and I've been there, are not closing business. We're not getting quota. That's the dark side, man. I'm going to bring you down to my side and let you know what some of the things that I went through. It was horrible. I was selling, and it was one of my first jobs outside of college. And when I started working with this company, some of the things I'm going to tell you, man, I had, just like what we talk about, and this is one of the reasons why I started doing the podcast. Not only did I want to learn and to improve and to grow, but I wanted to give back. I wanted to help people who were in the same positions that I was in at one point. And with this new company that I was working with fresh out of college, the problem was I didn't have the systems needed to be successful. And we were developing all of that right then and there. We were trying to I don't know, trying to put all the pieces together, and we're trying to get things going. Now, with that in mind, because I didn't have an effective process and I didn't have all the things that I tell you about, all those great tools, my struggle was difficult. I wasn't making quota. I was far from that. I mean, they had a ramp up period and I was doing horrible with the ramp up period. I had, no money. My bank account was probably down to zero. I was literally doing the paycheck to paycheck thing. I was making, and I'll be straightforward. My base salary was like $30,000 a year. So between the hour commute that I had and with taxes, don't get me started on taxes, and with rent and with food and with gas, it was like down to the bare minimum. I was eating just simple stuff. I would spend like $2 for lunch, and I went to Wendy's and got one of those 99 cents wrap and and a cup of water. And it was it was a really, really tough time. It was a dark time, and it was depressing because I'm like, do I really want to do this? Is this what I want to do? Should I go back and try to do an accountant job, or should I try to do something like that? Or is this even sales effective for me? And this is where I started getting that idea that, only certain people can sell. It was depressing. And the worst part of all was I remember having to ask my mom for money to pay rent. And I had to do this multiple times. I had to borrow money from my mom. And I know I'm fresh out of college and so forth, but man, I went to college. You know what I mean? I was trying to do something better. I studied marketing and business. You thought I would learn everything that I would need, and then I can just come out and start hustling. I love to sell that, that would grow. I was reading books. I was doing everything. But I'm telling you, man, it was a dark side. I remember taking the train and going to work and getting off the train and just like thinking, am I going to get fired today? Am I going to finish up this week, or do I need to start looking for another job? You know what I mean? It was that bad. It was that rough, and it was really dark. But one thing that I started to realize, I went back to the basics. I went back to my head and knew that I am Donald freaking Kelly. I am Donald freaking Kelly, and I can be successful. I read the books like I was telling you. I started to apply those things, but success or improvement did not come right away. There are 3 things that I would recommend for you as you are in this journey, or as you are in a similar situation like this. And I don't wish it on anyone. Actually, I kind of do, because you learn so much when you go through a horrible situation like this. If you are more productive and more effective, you are better off, and you can take some of these things that I'm sharing, the guests share, and you can better yourself. Would I take that journey back? I wouldn't take it back, because that taught me so much that I'm able to reshare some of those thoughts and insights with you today so that you can improve. But as you go through something similar to this, you will, I don't know, you just grow some muscles or something. But the first thing I would say is that you need to get a level head. You need to get the trash out of your head that you are not successful. And that's the first thing I had to do. I had to listen to the motivational stuff. I had to listen to those podcasts, or read those books, or get my head in a way that I knew that I can be successful. I bought books and I would listen to those books. I would go to the library, and you can get books on CD from the library if you don't have money. Now I'm big banking, and I can pay $15 a month. That's not big banking, but I have an Audible account, and I listen to my books on my Audible account when I commute, or when I drive, or as I'm going out running and stuff like that. But you got to get your head right. You have the podcast that we have here with over 200 episodes today. Crazy. That's 200 episodes. I need to celebrate. But that's why we're doing a marathon week. But you have this podcast that you can listen to. You can gain some advice from these guests and from myself, and you can take it and apply it. But you have to get your head right. You have to tell yourself, and you have to position yourself as a success, even though you may not see that success right now. So you have to tell yourself that I'm the best salesperson. I'm the best car sales guy. I'm the best billboard sales professional. I am the best whiteboard developer salesperson. I don't know, whatever you sell, you tell yourself you're the best, and then you start to believe it. The next thing I recommend that you start to do is hard work, determination. Hard work, determination. And what I mean by this is not to waste time doing stupid work. I mean, obviously it's effective work, but hard work. That means getting to work earlier. That means putting in a little bit more time. I've told you before that that 5 o'clock hour is where some 4 to 5 o'clock on a Friday is a great time to contact some executives, or in the afternoons. So could it be that you can stay a little later, an extra 30, 40 minutes, and make some calls during that time, which is maybe time when people are leaving or going to happy hour? Could you do that today? It's Monday. Could you plan that into your schedule? Could you come in early in the morning and make some calls in a different time zone if you're west? Could you come in earlier and contact some East Coast CEOs or executive earlier, or decision maker earlier? It's possible, but you have to make it happen. You have to work hard. You have to work smart. You can take some of the tools that we've shared in some of our podcast episodes, and you can apply those and you can implement them and see success. You have to outwork yourself. We've spoken about this before, but I'm telling you, this is the second thing that I started to do. The third thing that got me was focus on the most important thing. Focusing on the most important thing. So let's say, for instance, we know you need to find business. It may not be creating a great presentation deck at this point. You have no prospect in your pipeline. So why would you spend 2 hours creating a PowerPoint presentation? You need to find the people you need to get to. So you need to understand who's your ideal customer, go back to past episodes, learn who those people are, and go after them. Go where they hang out. They may be hanging out at the country club for lunch. You go to the country club for a lunch hour. I don't know. I'm just throwing stuff out there. If you know they're at a networking event, you figure out a way how to get to that networking event. I don't want to hear the excuses. You figure out a way. You carpool, you get a ride, you make some, give a value proposition to your manager that they need to pay for this networking event. You need to figure it out, but you need to get to where they are. And one of the cool things too is as you do these things, you'll start to see improvement. As you get the proper training too, that's where the killer explosion will come. You're getting some training with the podcast. You may have some training in-house. You may have, a friend that you can connect with and do some training. If you don't have any of those, one of my great, part of the great message that I have for later this week, I won't ruin the surprise, has to deal with a cool way how you can get some more training. I won't tell you what it is yet. You have to come back on Friday. But it's something that I want to help other salespeople with while they're going through a struggle, or entrepreneurs, or just like anyone. You may fall into a rut and you may be in the dark side of selling right now. You may be on the side where you're the 87% not making the money. You need to better improve, or maybe you're the 20%. And you're making some money. You're bringing some money in for the organization. You have some change in your pocket, but still yet you feel that you need to sharpen your tool. This is where you need to come. And Friday, I will tell you all about that, how you can improve on that. Overall, I hope that these three things, though, are able to help you. 1, get the level head you need. 2, work hard. 3, focus on the most important thing now. As you do these things, as you connect with other people too, you get some other people in your circle, you get to connect with some others who are being successful, things happen. After that, I would tell you my story a little bit. After that, I was able to get out of my rut. I started to make the money needed. I started to pay for my rent on my own. I started to do some savings. I started doing some investments in myself and just like little things. I started to help my mom in return. Instead of me begging her for money, I started to help her out with different things. I mean, she's worked so hard over the years, to help me and my brother and sister. So now it was time for me to give back. I was in that position to give back. And that was very rewarding for me, because that's a big part of my why. It was to be able to help my family not to go without. And I shared this in an episode a couple weeks ago. You need to develop that why as you get your head straight, as you get your head right. You just need to get out there. The dark side of sales is there. I want to bring it out. I want you to know. I want you to hear and understand that there are people out there just like you who are not making commission. But there's a way around it, because I went through it and it can work. It is great getting those checks, those commission checks, those extra commission checks for those couple $1,000, $3,000, $4,000 or $5,000. Those are great. They can come to you, but you got to do these things. Get your head right. You got to work hard, out hustle yourself, get the help you need from other people, bring them into your circle, learn from them. And then the third thing is that you got to focus on the most important thing right now. As you do this, you will see the success. Guaranteed you will. All in all, I want you to be successful. I'm excited for this new surprise that I'm going to tell you about at the end of the week. I know it's going to help many salespeople. I know it's going to help you. Most importantly, overall, doesn't matter what I do, all my message is geared around this. And that's for you to go out and do big things.